So knowing exactly when and who to hire for your agency can literally make or break your entire business. I'm sure you know that the agency or your business is built off of your team and exactly how they can help you grow, because at some point, once you get to a certain number, you can't do it alone. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys a roadmap and tell you exactly when you should hire, what you should hire for, and how to scale your agency correctly to make sure that it actually succeeds correctly. So I'm going to hop into Miro and I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to make sure you hire correctly and how to hire effectively. So let's take a look at my computer and do it right now. So when it comes to hiring to scaling your agency, you have to realize that you must hire slow, but hire correctly and hire at the right times. So I'm sure you guys know with any agency, right? There are three different pillars you need to actually grow it. You need leads, you need appointments, you need sales, and you also need service delivery, right? So you need to give people the service that they paid for. So when it comes to that, what you need to do is understand that every single method here or piece has a hierarchy of importance. So what that means is that appointments are more important than leads, right? Sales are more important than appointments. And service delivery is more important than sales, and vice versa, right? So that's exactly what you need to do. So what you need to realize is that as you start to scale your agency and grow it, you need to hire out the least important pieces of your agency. And as you continue to grow it, hire out the more important pieces. So for example, if you have a system of getting leads, right? If you don't have any money, do it yourself. But once you have enough leads, enough systems going through, you need to hire somebody to actually get you leads. And of course, it continues to scale from there. Once you start to get appointments, you need to hire somebody else out to do that, and so on and so forth. Because the thing is, what you guys need to understand is that in your business, you have to be the best at everything first. You have to be the best at leads. You have to be the best at appointment setting. You have to be best at sales. Because if you don't know how to run your own business from A to Z, you'll never understand how to hire somebody correctly, what to look for, and exactly if they're doing a good job, right? So that's really what it comes down to. So I'm going to break down every single piece of your agency and when and what to hire for. So let me walk you through our exact hiring process to make sure you have A players in every piece of our business. So what you got to realize is the more important the job is, the higher quality of person you want to hire. So for example, if you want to hire someone to get you leads, it's not that expensive, so you don't have to do that much vetting. You really don't, right? But it comes to appointment setting, you want somebody who can actually handle and set the appointments a little more higher quality, right? An appointment setter that can actually put people on the calendar that are quality. And if you want a salesperson, that's a very high touch job, and you want to make sure that you're really, really in depth and you vet them well. And service delivery, of course, is the most important thing. You have to have somebody who knows how to deliver your service. So this is exactly the process that we do. So first, we like to use a website called Upwork. I'm sure you guys know what Upwork is, because Upwork is very, very good in finding high quality talent that will work well, right? You want high quality talent that will work for you consistently. Now, what we do on Upwork is we post a job, right, on Upwork. Then once we post a job on Upwork, we say in the job, hey, we're looking for specifically a lead sourcer or specifically for a, let's say, a salesperson. And what we do is we put it up there and we let people come to us, right? We post a job. It's very simple to post a job and get people coming to you. And once you have enough people coming to you, then you start to do a hiring process. So let me show you guys the exact hiring sheet that we use to actually vet the right people to put into our business. Okay, so this is the exact cold caller appointment setter position form that we use to actually make people go through and make sure they're good, right? So what we do is we get our leads or our people who are interested through Upwork, and then we post a job. Once the job's posted, they fill out this simple information. I'll show you what we ask. We ask, of course, their name, their email, describe some work. Can they commit to working 5-6 days per week? Can they work in Eastern Standard Time? When you're ready to start? And we make them actually record a quick video to make sure that they actually are really, really good and we can trust them, right? And also we want to make sure we record a video because since we're hiring out of the country, we want to make sure that they have a good accent, right? The problem is that a lot of times when you get in situations where you hire out of the country, people may not have the best accent. They may not understand English very well. So this is a very good way to vet out to make sure that they're very good, right? Now, here's a tab where you can show the responses. So every single response you see here, make sure you go through it, look through it very, very, very thoroughly. And once you see people that you like, book them in for an interview, right? Very, very simple. Now, you want to have a similar form for every position in your agency, which is super important. But before you hire somebody, you're going to have to know exactly what you want to pay them. So let's walk through every piece of your business and figure out how much you should pay someone for their services. So let's go back to my role here. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to pay for every single services. Now, like I said, this does depend on the type of outreach or system that you have. But let's just say, for example, you want to have a cold calling system. This is exactly what you need to do, right? So for cold calling, it's a very simple system. You're going to have to get leads. Once you have to get leads, you're going to have to call them. And then you're going to have to put them on your calendar. And then you're basically going to have to set everything up from there, right? And just close the deal. So let's say, for example, you want to hire a cold calling system for outbound. What you're going to need first is a lead sourcer, right? You're going to need a lead sourcer. Now, what you can do is you can either scrape leads yourself at a much cheaper price, or you can hire somebody to actually get the leads at a much higher quality, right? And they'll go in, they'll find their names, they'll find their information, it'll be a lot higher quality. Now, for a lead sourcer, there are two ways you could pay them. You could pay them for a batch of leads, right? A huge batch. Or you could pay per lead or per hour, right? Let's just say per hour. So if you want to pay for a batch of leads that are high quality, you could probably pay about $100 for, let's just say, like 1,000 really good leads, right? That's probably what you want to pay. Now, per hour, a lead sourcer, you're going to want to pay around maybe $5 an hour to at most $7 an hour, right? And you can find a really good lead sourcer, like I said, on Upwork, or you can do onlinejobs.ph, or you could even do Fiverr as well. But you want to make sure that you have a consistent person you can trust that can go through your system very simply. So $5 to $7 per hour is perfect for a lead sourcer. Now, once you have someone finding you the leads, you're going to want to hire someone to actually call them and set appointments. So this is what an appointment setter is called. So this is the next piece of your system. So with an appointment setter, you're going to want to have to pay them a certain way, because you want to pay them in a way that incentivizes them to work as hard as possible. So what you could do is you could pay them per hour, but you track every hour for how many calls they've done, right? So it could be paid per hour, but we could say that 1 hour is equal to 15 cold calls. So every 15 cold calls, they get paid, let's say $7, something like that, right? That's a really good way to balance between paying per hour and getting a good price for how much you get. Or what you can do is you could pay on commission or appointment set. So you can actually get an appointment setter and pay them per appointment they set. And you can actually set it up so that they're incentivized to work harder. So let me show you what that means. So let's say you pay an appointment setter for each appointment they set. You could pay them, let's say, $20 for every appointment they set, right? And then you could also pay them $40 for every appointment that shows. So they get double the money if the appointment shows. So that's going to incentivize them to follow up correctly and to make sure they actually show up, right? And you could even pay them, let's say some people even pay them $60 per close. That's really, really good as well. If you want to do that, you can, but you don't really have to do that. But basically, that's a great system as well, because you don't have as much money up front, and you can still get a huge team of people to work for you. So I've seen a lot of people just hire commission-based cold callers and just fill their calendar in like days, which is insane, right? Awesome. So we have someone finding the leads. Then we have an appointment setter. Now what we're going to want to do is hire a salesperson. Now, sales is the most important part of your business. And this is where I suggest you really dial in and figure out how to vet people correctly. Now, before you hire a salesperson, I must say, you must know how to sell yourself, right? You can't hire a salesperson and not know how to sell, because if they're not doing a good job, how are you going to tell them like what to do or what to actually different objections, things like that? Because your product is different from every other product on the market. So you need to be the best salesman in your business, right? So when it comes to sales, you're going to need someone with experience, right? We don't want to hire people who haven't sold before, ever, right? Because in the beginning, we want to make sure that, we can sell, right? In the beginning, money is the most important thing. So you want to sell someone with experience. So you can find someone with experience on places like Upwork, which is great. Or what you can even do is you can go to an agency that has salespeople or sales reps ready. And honestly, I would highly recommend to do this, because the thing is, if you go to an agency that already has sales reps that are trained on specifically selling online, it's very simple for you to get results, and you can pretty much guarantee that it'll at least do some sort of results, right? Now, when hiring yourself, you want to make sure that the person you're hiring has a backlog of all of their old sales calls, right? So you want to have like a backlog of their sales calls on video, so you can take a look and see how they sell, how good they've done in situations like that, right? So you want a backlog of sales calls, right? So once that's the case, then you can definitely hire out. But I would really say that you shouldn't hire a salesperson until you're bringing in about $50K a month, right? And I know that sounds like a lot, but the reason is because if you pay a salesperson, let's say industry standard is about 10% of the sale, so 10% commission. So if you're making 50K a month, you're going to pay your salesperson 5K a month, right? And that's pretty much the bare minimum. You don't want to have a salesperson selling for any less than that, because if they don't make at least 5K a month, then it's not going to be fruitful for them, right? So you want to make sure your calendar is full of really, really good quality leads that people can actually close, right? So 5K a month is basically exactly where you want to be for them, and 50K a month is where it is, right? Now, what I always say is when hiring out, you don't want to hire someone just because you don't want to do it, right? That's a horrible way to hire, because like I said, you won't understand how the system works. Now, the last piece of your business you want to hire out is a service delivery. So you want to hire out someone to actually deliver the service to the clients. And this does depend on the niche or the SMMA you're doing, right? If you're doing a short form organic content agency, it's very different from running a Facebook ads agency or web design agency. So whatever the case may be, figure out what your service delivery is. Now, what I highly suggest is that you should hire service delivery before you hire any other piece of your system. And the reason is because service delivery is the most important piece of the system, but since it's very tedious, you don't want to have to do it all the time. As a CEO and a business owner, you must be the person who takes the highest return actions you can to grow your business. And the thing is, service delivery doesn't grow your business directly. Now, it's very important and the most important part of your business, but what you want to do is you want to have the highest return actions as possible. So if you focus on a high return action, like setting meetings, taking sales calls, and doing that stuff, it's much more important and much more efficient for your time to hire out someone to do the service delivery. Now, hiring out for service delivery is very simple. Like I always say, Upwork is probably one of the best places to do it because Upwork just has so much different talent here. And what I always say is for service delivery, I would say don't be afraid to pay a little more for this section here. Now, I'll say don't cheap out on anything, right? Don't cheap out on any piece of your business. But I'll say if there's one piece of your business you shouldn't cheap out on, it's a good service delivery team. Because if your service delivery sucks, you're going to lose your clients and it's going to be a horrible nightmare, right? So this is exactly the structure I think you should hire people out with. First, you should hire someone to get you leads and appointments. That's number one. Then once they have a steady stream of leads and appointments coming in, then you should hire out someone to actually do the service delivery for you. Because then once you start making sales, you'll have someone delivering the service in the back end. And then finally, the last part, once everything is here and you're pretty much ready to go, you want to hire somebody to take sales calls for you. Because like I said, knowing how to sell and selling in your company is the one thing that's going to move your company forward and give you the freedom and time to grow, right? I always like to say, think of money that you make in your business and sales like air. The more money you have, the more chances you have to breathe to go hire people out and to grow it even further, right? So that's kind of the whole situation on how we hire for our agency. Now, if you guys want to see an exact structure and step-by-step guide on how we actually do it ourselves and look behind the curtain and see our agency, I'd suggest click the link below and book in a call with us so we can talk to you, see if we'd be a good fit, kind of see where you're at and help you grow your own agencies. But I hope this video gave you guys some value. I love making it like always, and I'll see you guys in the next one.